In today's clip, I'll enlighten you on how not to worry about getting canceled by this ridiculous and lovely trend of cancel culture. Hey, XenPuck here. So this cancel culture is something I'm fascinated by, and it seems like most people, even just regular normal people, are scared and wondering, how can anyone avoid being canceled these days? Well, tip number one, give this out right at the beginning of the video for free, okay? It's easy. Just by not being famous, nobody gives a crap about most people's opinions, okay? So if you have 0 to low influence, no one will bother to cancel you. Though I do enjoy how this may or may not even be entirely true, as even on my tiny channel's worst liked video, plenty of people were telling me to go away. Me, with like a classroom full of subscribers. Oh my god, I laugh at these morons because I do not listen to the opinions of internet strangers. I barely listen to the opinions of, people I actually know. Oh my god. Internet, gotta love it. But seriously though, okay, just in the new year of 2021, Chris Harrison, Dr. Seuss, Gina Carano are all on the chopping block. And yet, it's the exception to the canceling culture that we should look to and compare with to learn the secrets of cancel immunity. And that example is Eminem. So let's compare the general scenario for all of these and see how Eminem somehow, does the opposite, right? Number one, as I mentioned in my last video, Gina Carano lost the game because she works for a company that simply abhors any kind of controversy, and that's reasonable, as Disney's whole brand is all about family friendliness, right, and not, annoying anyone else. Number two, Chris Harrison stepped away from his long-time gig on The Bachelor after basically saying judging people's actions in 2018 based on the point of view we have in 2020 is unfair, as if 3 years somehow has brought a real paradigm shift in terms of attitudes towards race. Okay, but I also chalk this one up in the he represents a show that wants to be seen as representing everyone in America, or at least all the single people, I guess. So what he said wasn't congruent with that, so now he's unemployed, though probably only temporarily. Okay. Number three, Dr. Seuss books are on the chopping block due to, again, mind you, its own decision to not republish some of its extensive catalog. I looked at some of the offending images, and honestly, they can be quite offensive, okay? Certainly not enough to say, oh, now that I hate, Cat in the Hat. I do not hate Cat in the Hat. I think that's a great book. But some of these other illustrations on the lesser well-known books, I mean, I get it. There's artistic license to be expected because they're illustrations. But because these are children's books, I also totally get why I wouldn't want the next generation growing up thinking anyone but white people look totally bizarre either, okay? I mean, we are not short on choices these days on children's books. But then again, I didn't grow up reading Dr. Seuss, so I don't have that childhood nostalgic sentiment attached to this particular entry either, okay? So number four, example number four, finally. Eminem's written plenty of controversial lyrics, and yet somehow his defenders have always been fiercely loyal to the man, okay? The man's like bulletproof in terms of social media. So I want to make it clear that I personally do not care about his music, okay? Yet, I respect him as an artist who's been extremely successful for multiple decades. I can respect that even if I personally do not relate to his style, okay? One thing Eminem can be said to be consistent in is that he's always courted controversy and derision to some extent, right? Remember, when he first came out, just being a really big, successful white rapper in itself, I recall that was a surprise moment back in the days. I think people have forgotten that, but that's actually the case. Okay, so these are the backgrounds of 4 different cases. But what's really different between why Eminem endures while others fall to the wayside? I'll tell you what I think about it, right? I think it's really just about the lack of hypocrisy. So you look at Gina Carano and Chris Harrison. They both work for companies that like to pretend that They are meant for everyone, right? Now, I'd suggest, in the cases of something like Bachelor, simply rename itself to tan, white, attention-seeking bros and hoes. That's twaba. All their problems would be solved, right? You wouldn't be able to say, oh, they don't make it super clear what that show is actually about. Instead of what The Bachelor has done for years with all the token minorities, right? I mean, I've seen like a handful of seasons out of the dozens of seasons of, Bachelor and its spin-offs. And it's just so cliche, okay? The black girl's there for like 6 weeks, the Asian girl maybe last 4 weeks. Let's just be honest. Why are they even on the show? Let's just rename the show to Tan White People, Attention-Seeking Bros and Hoes. Because that's what the show is about. And look at Dr. Seuss. It's a children's classic, okay? The standard needs to be as high as the sky can go. Now, you compare these kind of companies, these kind of positions that they're in, the type of public scrutiny that they're under, to Eminem, okay? Eminem, on the other hand, writes for adults and has never hid the fact that he's an imperfect human being, okay? Can anyone honestly tell me that they've never had a bad thought on their minds that wasn't, like, appropriate, that they haven't thought about it? Of course, we all have had those thoughts. Why do you think Eminem seems so relatable to so many people, right? One of the things that I saw, like, he was trying to recently get canceled for, not he was trying to, but the internet was trying to cancel him for, was him saying something like, oh, he's passionate about, like, wanting to keep a girl around, and she leaves, he's gonna tie her to a bed and burn the house down. Okay, well, that sounds really aggressive, right? Definitely kind of scary. But I think that's the whole point, right? Like, have you never felt that type of passion for someone? I mean, again, I don't think he's glorifying these types of awful thoughts, right? He's just saying, I had those thoughts, so I'm recording it. And that's what's making him honestly relatable, right? Eminem is nothing if not honest with his flaws, right? Rather than, the public perception of him being some sort of perfect person. Which is, by the way, what Disney or The Bachelor would like to portray for their actors and their shows, right? So cancel immunity, like I mentioned, simply equals be honest with who you are. All the cancel parties in the clip that I'm talking about suffers from pretending to be for everyone and then failing to back up those assertions with competent execution, right? Now, they've remained uncancelled for a long time, some of them anyway, because the dissenting voices are certainly in the minority and didn't have a platform. Well, we're deep in the digital age now, and everybody's got a voice, more or less, okay? So even minor hypocrisies can now be amplified and exposed. So the next time I hear, I can't believe so-and-so is being cancelled, my follow-up question, really yours should be too, well, did that person stay true to who they are, or were they hiding something that's incongruent with their desired public image? Because I'll bet money that it's the latter, because hypocrisy in the public sphere is actually the default option for most celebrities, okay? Not the exception. Well, let me know what you think about how easy it is to simply avoid cancel culture. It's a good thing I'm bad at lying, so I think I'll be alright. Cheers. Check out some of my other clips in the corners.